Okay, and that was New York State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, who is running to be mayor of New York City, protesting against the detainment of Khalil. I'm honored to say he joins me now. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, that video certainly made the rounds. You are an outspoken man in that moment. Why did you take to protesting Mahmoud's deportation in such a public way?
You know, that was a moment where Tom Homan came to the state capital of New York, Albany, where I serve as a state assembly member, and he was walking the halls with a smirk on his face without any answer for the unjustifiable, which is the detention of a permanent legal resident of this country, a fellow New Yorker, without any actual charge. And so I asked him the questions that should be top of mind for all of us. Does he actually believe in the First Amendment? What are the charges that they have filed? And how many more New Yorkers does he plan to detain without charge?
Well, we heard some of the counterpoints from both the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, as well as Marco Rubio, saying that Mahmoud disrupted classes, harassed Jewish students, that he distributed pro-Hamas propaganda. What do you say to that, the fact that we know that Hamas is considered a terrorist organization and that potentially during these pro-Palestinian protests, that sort of behavior was happening?
They haven't actually been able to prove any of those allegations. They are simply making them now because they understand the very shaky legal footing that they are on, having disappeared a permanent legal resident of this country purely for political speech. And they are looking to try and distract from that at every possible juncture.
What do you see is at stake here for Americans when it comes to a decision on Mahmoud's circumstances? A lot of eyes on this, most certainly as being a potential disruption to his First Amendment rights.
You know, I think it's not simply Mahmoud's freedom at stake. It's not that of his pregnant American wife, Noor, who is due to deliver their baby in 1 month, or that baby who's about to be deprived of its father. It is also what we are so proud of as Americans, the First Amendment in this country. That is what's at stake. And what troubles me so deeply is that while this is a clear result of Trump administration policies, we are also seeing a number of Democrats opt for cowardice and collaboration in this moment when New Yorkers are asking for courage and conviction. And I see that typified most especially by our current disgraced mayor, Eric Adams, and our disgraced former governor, Andrew Cuomo, neither of whom have conclusively put out any statement asking for the release of a New Yorker.
Yeah, clearly you are not afraid of the spotlight. Obviously, there would be a big one on you if you were elected as mayor of New York City. What are you going to do differently here?
You know, I would operate in accordance with the Constitution of this country, and I would make it clear that when I represent 8.5 million New Yorkers, I do so with our values in mind, with our laws in mind, and with the dignity of our New Yorkers in mind. And what we've seen instead from Eric Adams, or what we saw when Andrew Cuomo was the governor of the state, is a narcissistic style of politics that puts personal gain over the welfare of people at large. And it's time that we turn the page on the past, we turn the page on the present that we're living in, and we actually opt for the future.
All right, we got to leave it there. Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, thank you very much. Let's get a check on the other side, a counterpoint, now joined by GOP political consultant Matt Klink. Matt, thanks so much for joining me for another hour of NewsNation Prime.
Pleasure to be back with you again.
All right, you just heard the Assemblyman there. What's your take on what he said?
He's very confused, first off. I realize he's using it as a platform to run for mayor, but Mr. Khalil, he's a guest in this country. He is not a United States citizen, and he can't come out and do what he has been doing at Columbia. And the administration is well within its rights, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio can withdraw his green card, which he did, and at that point, he goes back to wherever he came from.
But if we think about what the counterpoint is there, and we think about other nations in which they do things a little bit differently than the United States of America, disappearing somebody is a threat and something that happens, and we do not want to see, I think at least, United States people in the United States coming to that same conclusion, right? This could be considered a First Amendment right.
It's not a First Amendment right at all. This gentleman is a guest in this country. And let me tell you, if you can't come to America as a foreigner or as a guest of this country and incite violence, which Mr. Khalil clearly did on Columbia. And those were not peaceful protests. There was destruction of property, occupying of buildings. Jewish students felt threatened. So no, you can't do that. And you can't do it, especially if you're going to back a terrorist organization, which Hamas is.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.